sexual being, it is another installment of this journey, and I believe you've been learning a lot. I believe you've been exposed to new knowledge, and I believe you are bringing this information to yourself. So far, so good. We've had close to 6 classes, and this is another class. Today, we're going to be learning on sexual behaviors. Sexual behaviors. But before we go into this class, let us try to remind ourselves what we've learned so far. So we've learned that you are a sexual being created in God's image as a sexual being, and everything he created good. So you are a good sexual being. And what makes you a good sexual being is actually not because someone has good penetrative skills, but because God Himself called sex good, meaning everything about you, your sexuality, everything is good. Another thing we've also learned is that sexuality is personal and diverse because we have thousands of tribes, thousands of cultures in the world. So we do not expect everyone to think about sex the same way. No, because even food, we don't think about food the same way. So we should give people that grace that we are diverse and we believe different things. We have different rules regulating us and all that. So we should also be able to bring that into our sexuality. Give people graces, accommodate people, accept the fact that we are different when it comes to our sexuality. And another beautiful thing we learned is that our spiritual self should open us up to the creator's mind about sex, which will help us to steward our sexuality and be able to tend to our partner's sexual desires. So if your religion is not opening you up to have a better understanding of your creator, even as you assess his mind regarding sex and bring that wisdom, that mystery, that knowledge to your life to steward your own sexuality and that of your partner, then you want to check that religion. You want to check that religion. We also learned about values, most importantly, the importance of your sexual value on the productivity of the nation. Because with the level of moral decadence in the world, it is not a lie that it is telling on our country as a whole. It is telling on the economy, it is telling on the productivity of the citizens. Because if we have so many sexually insane beings, of course we're going to have a sexually insane world, and it is obviously everywhere in the world. So I believe you had your own highlights. I believe you have your own wow moment. I believe you have your own light bulb over the course of this journey. So today we're going to be looking at another beautiful thing: sexual behavior. Sexual behavior. Sexual behavior. And one thing I've been asking us from the beginning of this class, one thing you should be able to finally come in contact with, come to us sexually, because your sexuality actually starts from your being to your sexual doings. So if you do not get your being right, your sexual doings cannot be right. So who are you sexually? The information you've learned about sex, where did you get those information from? Have they been benefiting you well, or they've been showing negative effects in your overall life? Because your sexuality speaks to your mental health, your emotional health, your social relationship with people, your physical health, and basically every areas of your life. You are a sexual being. It is who you are. You cannot run away from it. What you need to do is to learn how to steward it for your benefit and for the benefit of your neighbor. So once again, you are welcome to today's class on sexual behavior. Sexual behaviors are expressed using different forms. What you believe in tells on your sexual behavior. What you've learned about sex tells on how you behave sexually. What you've known about sex, what you've heard, what you've discussed, what you've opened up your mind to, tell on your sexual behavior. And the different things that influences your sexual behavior is actually social learning, what you see in the society and all, as well as physiology and psychological social reinforcement. So what the way you behave sexually is not even first about your own mindset. At least now that you're in this class, now that you're on this journey, you can now begin to say, okay, this is who I am sexually, this is who I want to be sexually. But right from time, and the information you still have is actually information you've learned from other people's theory, other people's mindset, other people's way of life, social learning, cognitive learning, behavioral. Like, what is it? The way you see other people behave, that is what we've always believed as our own behavior. That is what we've always believed to adopt. And all that. So speaking on sexual behavior, we have positive sexual behavior and we also have negative sexual behavior, otherwise known as normal sexual behavior and compulsive normal behavior, or healthy sexual behavior, or unhealthy sexual behavior. And all these will originate from your sexual values, from you defining yourself sexually, to what you personally believe, what you drafted out for yourself, that this is who I am sexually. It will tell on your sexual behavior. So how do you know when you are behaving as a normal sexual being, or when you are going away from the normal way of behaving as a sexual being? Because there is a normal way of behaving, there's an healthy way of behaving as a sexual being, and an unhealthy way of behaving as a sexual being. So what is normal? What is the normal sexual behavior? It is the common or typical behavior for developmental age. Yes, because there is a kind of thing you will do. Like every age has a certain sexual behavior. Every age has a certain behavior. Just the same way someone that is still a toddler cannot break bones or do other stuffs. What they basically eat is soft food and all that, different kind of mesh, different type of grinded food and all. You don't expect a toddler to start cracking bones. No, 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 no. So a normal behavior is something you do according to your age group. Something you do according to your age group, developmental age, rather than what may be desired by a specific group or individual. And a normal sexual behavior is not harmful to you, not harmful to the society, not harmful to your neighbor. So that is the basic definition of a normal sexual behavior: something that is common and typical for developmental age, rather than what may be desired by a specific group or individual. And most importantly, that sexual activity is not harmful. Most time it rides on the wings of curiosity. Yes. And when it is a normal sexual behavior, you are not pressured, because if you've grown developmentally on how to steward your sexuality, how to relate with other sexual beings, and all for the benefit of yourself and for your neighbor, you tend to make healthy sexual behaviors. You tend to behave in healthy ways. You tend to portray behaviors that will be sent to yourself and also to your society. Another beautiful thing I want you to know is that the same way our sexuality is different, sexual behaviors also are different. Like I said earlier, we have thousands of cultures in the world, and no, we do not believe the same thing about sex. What is normal in a society is not normal in another person's society. So give people graces. Give people graces. Know that this person is different and you are also different. That does not make you right or wrong. That does not make you right. Or also, sexual behavior varies greatly from one culture to another. What is a normal sexual behavior in this culture may be unhealthy in another person's culture. So you want to be intentional about your own sexuality, and also the sexual values you are building in your home, the sexual values you are passing to the next generation, because that is the reason why we are here, building up ourselves, training ourselves to be sexually sane beings, knowing ourselves sexually, so we can build values and pass these values to our children and to the next generation. That is basic thing we are doing here. So, and for sexual behavior, we have different definition. Giving us the definition for a normal sexual behavior. Now let's move to the abnormal. Yes, because we have normal and we have abnormal. And when we get into this class, we are going to understand better. So to the abnormal sexual behavior, we have four different. We are going to be defining it in four different ways. So the first way, statistical approach of defining unhealthy sexual behavior, one that is rare or not practiced by many people. According to the statistical approach, unhealthy sexual behavior is defined as one that is rare and not practiced by many people. Another approach we'll be looking at is the sociological approach, which violates the norm of a society. So when a sexual behavior violates the norm of a society, then that behavior is an unhealthy behavior. When a sexual behavior violates the norms of a society, then that behavior is considered unhealthy. And we should not forget that it is limited to that society, because when you go to the next society, what these people believe in as abnormal may be normal. It may be normal. Another approach we want to look at is psychological approach, and according to Arnold Boss, he gave us three criteria for defining this sexual abnormality, using discomfort, inefficiency, and bizarreness. So when you are not comfortable, when you are not efficient, and when you are bizarre, it is termed as an unhealthy sexual behavior. Then the fourth approach is the medical approach, using the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorder, DSM-5. It recognizes 8 specific paraphilia. Paraphilia is defined as any intense or persistent sexual interest other than sexual interest in genital stimulation or preparatory fondling with phenotypically normal, physically mature, consenting human partners. So, this DSM-5 recognizes a specific paraphilia. And like I defined earlier, it is any sexual interest that is not particularly involved in genital meet and greet. Like, it is not first about genital meet and greet, neither is it about foreplay and all that. It is a paraphilia, and it needs to be checked. It needs to be checked because it is under medical approach, and it is divided into 8 different types. So we have 8 specific paraphilia. So when you see people talking about these 8 things as normal things, you want to say like you want to be sure that they know what they are saying. And it is so common in society that people think these 8 paraphilias are normal. People think they are normal. Now, sexual behaviors are supposed to be normal, right? Sexual behaviors are supposed to be normal. Okay. There are some sexual behaviors that are termed normal. There are some sexual behaviors that are termed normal, but there is a small gap between normal and abnormal. Let's take, for example, a wife putting on a lingerie, and this is a sexy underwear that is meant to make you feel good. Yeah, do you think I was going to say make your husband feel good? No, to first make you feel good and love yourself, then enticing your husband. So it is normal. Yes, a wife putting on a laundry is normal. Then it becomes abnormal when the husband cannot be sexually aroused if the wife is not on a laundry. It becomes abnormal if what actually makes the man sexually aroused is just this fact that is seeing her on a laundry. I don't know if you understand. So I'm going to be listing the 8 different types of paraphilia that are under Diagnostical and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorder, so that we will look at our life in the outside because these things are actually considered normal, but no, they are not even normal. These are unhealthy sexual behavior. So the very first thing on my list is fetishism. Like, you've heard people say, what is your fetish? Like, what do you believe to be fetish? What is the fetish part of you? It is an abnormal sexual behavior. It is not normal, but ignorance have allowed us to normal, and the feeling, the urge to feel woke, that yes, I'm no. So fetishism is a sexual fixation on some subject other than another human being, an attachment of great erotic significance to that object. So when you are sexually fixated on some object rather than your partner, and significant amount of attachment is given to that object, it is categorized under Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorder. It is an unhealthy sexual behavior. It is it is compulsive. Like, it is not a normal sexual behavior. So I don't care what your fetish is. You need to be treated. You need to be medically treated. You need help. You need help. So if you always believe that fetishism is something like it's giving woke, it's giving self-aware. No, it's giving mental disorder. It is giving unhealthy sexual behavior. Another thing is sexual sadism. Hey. Another thing is sadism. And a sexual sadist is a person who experiences intense sexual arousal from the physical and psychological suffering of another person, as manifested by sexual fantasies, sexual urges, and sexual behaviors. Another table about to be shattered. Now you hear BDSM and you're like, you're not involved in BDSM, you are missing a lot. No, I am not missing a lot. It is categorized under diagnostic and statistical manner of mental disorder. It is an unhealthy sexual behavior. It is abnormal. It is not normal. BDSM. It's not normal. It is not normal. Sadism is not normal. Inflicting pain on someone and you're sexually aroused by the fact that this person is in pain, that this person is suffering. You need help. You need to be medically checked. You need psychological help. It is not a normal sexual behavior. Another thing is sexual masochism. And a sexual masochist is a person who experiences intense sexual arousal from being humiliated, bound, beaten. So a sexual sadist and a sexual masochist, they are both in the same category. It is an unhealthy sexual behavior. BDSM, it is categorized under statistical and it is categorized under diagnostic and statistical manual of mental disorder, DSM-5. It is an abnormal sexual behavior. It is a compulsive sexual behavior. It is unhealthy. So it is not normal. It is not woke. It is not sexual expressiveness. It is not sexual awareness. No, it is not. It is not. So don't dream it. But that's for that. Another thing we want to also look at is voyeurism. I think it's a French word. VOYEURISM. A person involved in that is a person with experience. Is a person who experiences intense sexual arousal from watching an unsuspecting person who is naked. Like, when you get intense, when you get sexually aroused just from peeping at someone, maybe having a bath, it's giving King David. Okay, so when you peep at someone having a bath, or someone that is naked, but they are not naked to entice. Maybe they're naked to get dressed, and you are there peeping through the keyhole to check, and you are sexually aroused. It is unhealthy sexual behavior. You need to be checked. Another thing is also oh my good God. Another thing is also frotteurism. FROTTEURism. A person involved in this manifests sexual fantasies, urges, and behaviors by touching or rubbing one's genitals against the body of a non-consenting person. This is normal. This is common. Yes, now if we're going to go by the definition of a normal sexual behavior, we'll say this particular act is a normal sexual behavior, but no, it is not. Because it is common and we feel it is normal. When you are on a queue and you as a lady, there is a guy behind you and he's rubbing your genital against you, which is that guy is mentally not okay. It is an unhealthy sexual behavior and it is categorized under diagnostic and statistical manual for mental disorder. So it is not normal. It is an unhealthy sexual behavior. You need to be medically checked. So when you see people engaging in frotteurism, it is not normal. You are on a queue and you are rubbing your genital against a non-consenting person. You need to be medically checked. Another thing is exhibitionism. So can we confidently say that posting a sexually expressive picture on social media can also be termed as exhibitionism, because you are actually showing us your private parts and we are not even consenting to it. We don't want to see you. No, we don't. But it makes you feel good. It makes you like, can you imagine? So no, you are not a fine girl. You are not giving body. You are not doing slay queen. You need to be mentally checked. You need to be mentally checked, because it is a paraphilia. It is a mental. It is a sexual disorder that needs quick attention, medical attention, behavioral learning therapy, cognitive learning therapy. You need to see a doctor. You need to see a therapist and start treatment. And the last is pedophilia. We see this everywhere, where older people sexually abuse little ones. It is also categorized under diagnostic and statistical manual of mental disorder. So if we can agree that, oh, an elderly person sexually abusing a young one is very, very bad and uncalled for, and it's a bad behavior, it is an unhealthy behavior, let us also agree that unnecessary posting of sensitive part of the body is on the same level as being a pedophilia. Your sexual genitals, again, a non-consenting adult, is also on the same level as sexually abusing a small child. Let us also agree that fixating on an object that you do not get aroused until that object is within you, within your environment, is also on the same level as being a pedophilia. Let us also agree that BDSM is also on the same level as pedophilia. When you are inflicting pain on someone and you are sexually aroused, and when you are also getting frustrated, getting beaten, and you are sexually aroused and need help. You need help. It is also important I say this: when a sexual behavior becomes a major constant focus in your life and it is difficult to control, like it becomes a major issue in your life, like you cannot control yourself, it takes your time, it prevents you from doing other productive things, and it causes problem in your life, like you lose your job, such people is now poor, and it is harmful to you or others, that sexual behavior is unhealthy and you need to check. Now remember, I listed 8 different paraphilia. Now these 8 different paraphilia can become disorders, can become mental disorders when it is recurrent and lasts for at least 6 months, and when it creates distress or impairment to the individual. So frotteurism, being a sexual masochist, voyeurism, fetishism, pedophilia, and all that can become disorders when they are recurrent and last for at least 6 months, and when they create distress or impairment to the individual. So you having a fetish thing is not a normal sexual behavior. It doesn't make you walk. It doesn't make you sexually expressive. No, it does not. And being a Christian does not, like we have Christians that boldly say, I have fetish for this. You have fetish for what? I need help. So you need to be treated, and we have the medical approach. You can be treated medically. We also have cognitive behavioral treatment. We also have skills training, and another thing, AA type 12-step programs. Another thing we've learned is that there is a thin line between a normal behavior and an abnormal sexual behavior, because something that is normal can turn to abnormality when it becomes a compulsory thing before you get sexually aroused. Just like the example I used with the laundry. If you cannot get aroused until you see your wife on a laundry, then it is you need to check it. It is already turning towards abnormality. Now, am I saying your wife shouldn't put on laundry? Yes, she should. But if it is not going to happen every day, and you now get to a place where it is either she's on laundry or you're not sexually aroused, it is now an abnormal sexual behavior. So we've come to the end of today's class. I believe you will learn something new, and I believe you will now start being intentional about what you accept from the society, what you believe to be normal and all that. Know your sexuality for yourself. know your sexuality for yourself. So thank you for listening to this very point. I believe you learned something. I'll see you again in the next class. Bye bye.